welcome, step right up. Ashton and crew are about to erupt with facts like these. Who needs debunkers? We'll be beaming through space while they drive their clunkers. Be a 4B, I'm a 4B. This investigation is legit. Be a facts debunkers can step off with their bullshit. Oh, yeah. Not to name names, both what's in the best in the corridor crew. Well, the theories are a mess, haha. Who knows where this all goes? Bless the sky and those below. But liars and deniers can suck my black hole. Y'all don't come at me, bro. Be a 4B, I'm a 4B. This investigation is legit. The effects debunkers can step off with their bullshit. Oh, yeah.
What up, everybody? Let's go. I hope everybody's having a good Sunday or maybe Monday morning if you are in another country. Yeah, my sound is messed up, guys. 1 second. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me right now. Yeah. Wow, what is that? The sound just keeps changing automatically. Is it because I'm muted? I don't know. Anyway, guys, welcome. Hope you guys are having a good night. Hope you guys are enjoying the weekend or you had a great weekend. So yesterday we jammed out. We had a great time. We did our message to Joe Rogan. I got pinged about 100 times about the Joe Rogan Terrence Howard interview. I finally finished it. That's why I'm late tonight. Wow, what an interview. So we are going to take the risk and see if we get copyright strikes. We're going to play some clips from it. I took some notes on some timestamps in it. I can't believe, I don't believe in synchronicities, but dude, what the hell? Terrence Howard's talking about all the same stuff that we are talking about. He's even talking about phase conjugation. He's talking about the ether. He's talking about the was it Michelson-Morley experiment as well? I just posted a thing about it. I'm just sitting there what is going on? This is wild. Definitely feels like we're in a simulation. This is the science is coming out. It's actually coming out faster than what people think. I can't believe. I'm gonna riff for a second. I can't believe that the ether is real and even a thing. If you had asked me about the ether last year, this last summer, I'd have thought you're a crazy person. I'd have been like, what are you talking about, the ether? You're one of those people who talks about the ether. Now I'm like, yeah, the ether is a real thing. And that's what we need to explain gravity and negative energy densities and the Casimir effect and a lot dark energy, all this stuff that we've just had no answer for. Terrence Howard at one point during the interview literally says people just make up stuff for dark energy and that the ether can explain all this. I'm like, holy shit, dude. That's exactly what I've been talking about. Wow, we need to talk with Terrence Howard, man. My God. Now, the thing about Terrence Howard though as well is that I can see why people wouldn't take him very seriously because he's kind of he's very far down the sacred geometry path, very down. And you know what? I believe everything he's saying. I really believe it. It's just that a lot of mainstream people aren't going to be able to wrap their heads around it. And I'm not going to show this, but he talks about how he tried to reach out to Neil deGrasse Tyson. So Terrence Howard talks about how he tried to reach out to Neil deGrasse Tyson to look at his work and look at his kind of discoveries, and Neil deGrasse Tyson just takes the red marker to his work and is just trying to poo-poo all over it. And I just sat there listening to that going, man, Neil deGrasse Tyson's the last person you should go to for science review. and his funny part is he said oh, I went to Neil deGrasse Tyson because I saw him on Cosmos, which was the reboot of Carl Sagan's old show. And it's funny because that's where I gained respect for Neil deGrasse Tyson as well. And then I lost all that respect later on. Yeah, Neil responded in a very predictable way. And guys, this is the problem. The truth is, I don't think that Neil is like controlled. I just think he's an idiot. Like the problem with a lot of these old school academics, and like Lawrence Krauss is another example as well. Like these guys just got to die off. Like they are too stuck in their own mindset of how the physics and science has to work. And it makes no sense to have that level of ego and hubris because we know there's stuff we can't explain. So we obviously have something wrong. Like that's undeniable. We can't explain dark energy. We can't explain dark matter. We have all these concepts we can't explain. We have no unification theory of quantum field theory and general relativity, but we just are sure that what we know is right. Obviously, there's something missing. And this is what Terrence Howard puts forth is that, okay, here's another option. So by the way, guys, thank you very much, everybody who's in the chat who jumped in here early. I know I haven't been saying hi to everybody. It's starting to get impossible. We've got so many people watching and following these days, which is incredible. So let's go ahead and let's jump right into this because I don't want to be up all night tonight. I'm going to try to limit this to an hour or like maybe a little bit more than an hour. But I do have a bunch of interviews. A bunch of people have reached out to me that are relatively large that want to talk to me about this stuff. So I will announce those when they're like fully set in stone. What I can say is tomorrow I will be on with Emerald again. I'm going to do a follow-up with Emerald. If you guys didn't see, I went on her show. It's only like a 10, 15-minute spot, but I don't know. I'm for those shorter spots, I'm pretty much just going to give my epiphany, you know, my pitch to the people that are out there that are the people that are skeptical, and we will see. Okay, so what do I want to start with? Oh, wow, yeah. My basketball team is about to win right now as well, which is pretty awesome. So we're going to start with Twitter, and then we're going to jump over because, guys, if you guys have not been following, this Iranian helicopter just disappeared. Iranian president's helicopter just disappeared off the face of the earth. They can't find the debris. They can't find it crashed. It supposedly crashed like 15 hours ago. And early on, they were saying, oh, some signals got released and they're going to find it. I have been just super busy, so I haven't really been following it that closely. But now, like, they're saying, like, they have no idea where it is. It was clear skies. So it's not like a Kobe Bryant situation where it was like foggy. By the way, if you guys don't know, when Kobe Bryant's helicopter crashed, I was living in Southern California. And it was one of the foggiest days I've ever seen where like the fog like was so thick you could just see it and it was very low and you knew it was dangerous to fly in. That was not the case in Iran. Like it was a clear sky. There was it wasn't like hard fog like that. So everybody's been pinging me about this Iran helicopter situation. I'm not saying that it's an MH370 situation. James is already in here. Where's Pig James? I miss Pig James, guys. It's not, I don't think it's an MH370 situation. But at the same time, like I do think that we can take down any helicopter we want at any point in time. Like we've got weapons that can shoot beams from outer space onto helicopters and just make them crash or a plane. So like this is why I made the post where I was talking about like you don't want to be the president adversary of the United States government. Like that's like the worst thing that you can be on this planet right now. I would be so afraid of getting on an airplane if I was like the Iranian president or like North Korean leader Kim Jong. Which one are we on? Il, whichever one we're on these days. And this is why, like, this is what they did with MH370. Like, when you look, I'll pull this video up while I talk about this real quick while I give the intro into this situation. When you look at this video here, and they're definitely filming this for intelligence purposes here. Like that's the reason why I want you guys to look at this drone video because we're going to compare it to the drone video of the Iranian search as well. This is a situation where like, if you're like China or Russia, and if you are looking at this video and you're watching an airliner disappear out of the sky, you are going to be freaked the hell out. This is a message to the adversaries that would say, you know, like if you get on an airplane, we can take you down in a second and there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. Did they find the crash site now? This is part of the reason why I haven't. I'm not. I mean, I don't want to link anything else to this case, but look at this. If you're watching this video and you're Vladimir Putin, you're going, oh shit, I better not mess with the United States. If I get on an airplane, like they can just take my airplane down anytime they want, at will, no problem. Oh, they just found it right now. Interesting. Okay, so let's switch over. Let's take a look at that. Man, this Amy Eskridge thing today is also taking off, guys. Like, wait, looks like Skyfire News just reported on it as well. This, man, there's been some drama today, guys. Okay, we better just get right into it. Okay. Move this. Also, I posted both the videos today. I hadn't posted them in several weeks. So if you are new to the investigation and you wanted to see the videos, I did post them today. Although if you're watching the streams, you're seeing them like every single day. So you probably don't care. Here you go. Oh, man. And for the record, like if people message me, I'm getting so many DMs now. It's crazy. Yeah, the Amy Eskridge stuff is such a deep rabbit hole. It's actually crazy. Like I'm trying to avoid going down it because I've been told like be careful. I've been told be careful about going down it. It's getting real, chat. Okay, so let's look at this here. I just retweeted this message here. I dropped the "Who's Your Daddy" thing because man, I just can't imagine being this good. Look at the clouds from the MH370 video. The only difference is it's not color. And here's the thing about that. Why is the MH370 video in color? If you were a hoaxer, you would have made it black and white. And you'd make it look like this. This is what you'd make it look like. And look how realistic the clouds are. Just like in our video. They're like real volumetric clouds. They're not, somebody didn't paint a picture of the clouds. Those are real clouds we're looking at. The reason why we don't see the detail like we see here, where it's a little bit sharper, is because it's color thermal instead of black and white. The way the drone pans around, to me, looks very. Still argue that they can't do color thermal, but they can. We found the proof that they could. So it's like, why would a hoaxer make it in color? They would make it like look like this, black and white, if they were faking it. Okay, let me see if there's any kind of update or anything like that. Damn, Dom's thing got 3 million views on that. Guys, if I was a clout chaser, by the way, I would be posting like all these things that would get me like tons and tons of views. Like I could have posted, I'll mute it. Sorry, Hermes. If I was clout chasing, I would be posting all these news things. I probably could have got 1 million views from posting this Iranian helicopter crash thing, right? And I've been avoiding it because that's not what I'm going after, you know? I would love in the future to be like mostly focusing on like geopolitics and news and other science stuff. But I want to get closure on this MH370 stuff. And I'm going to like keep pushing it and making it, make it more and more awkward until like AARO finally responds. So does anyone have like a name of anybody who's got the updated video? Probably like one of these big people, Mario Narwhal or whatever his name is. Narwhals. Oh, helicopter wreckage found. Conditions not good. Okay, here we go. We found something, guys. We found something. Why did it have that ridiculous music? Narwhal? 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 I'm just going to call him Mario Narwhal. Mario Narwhal, guys. Here we go. What am I even looking at here, chat? What am I even looking at here, chat? I'm just going to leave the sound because it's super annoying. Hopefully the sound is fine at fine sound levels. Oh, this dude's definitely dead, guys. Yeah, he didn't even get COVID, man. There's no way. I think this thing was, my guess is this is really suspicious, man. For the Iranian president to just get wiped out, like in the middle of this whole like Israel-Palestine conflict, after they just shot a bunch of missiles at Israel, pretty suspicious. Pretty damn suspicious, guys. That's all I'm gonna say. This is supposed to be proof of something. What am I looking at here, chat? I have no idea what I'm even supposed to be looking at right here. Okay, here we go. Here's something here. First picture of the location of the president's helicopter. That's the helicopter? That's it? Can we zoom in on this? What? Can't even, like, Twitter doesn't even let you zoom in. That's it right there? What am I looking at here, chat? This looks like a dildo. Is this a John Greenwald dildo we got going on right here, chat? What am I supposed to be looking at right there? Yeah, where's the smoke? Shouldn't there be like a plume of smoke in the sky from the helicopter crash that crashed a few hours ago? Like what is this? That's it? Wow. It's a black Hulk. Matt Gill, you're on it, buddy. Yeah, Dildo Mountain. What are we doing here? What is this? That's it? Guys, I'm trying not to be a conspiracy theorist, but like this is like a blurry Bigfoot video. Like this is like a whatchamacallit, the not the Peruvian, but the South American like Viagra aliens or whatever they're called. Vihara, Virginia aliens. Yeah, well, why this is the best we got? This is the proof? I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm trying not to be a conspiracy theorist here, but that's not really convincing me of a helicopter crash. Okay. That's all we got. Okay. I thought I saw a different one where there was like some kind of drone with like thermal or something. Let me see. Anyone else got any others? Who else is doing it? Iran president. Let me search real quick and see if we can find any others. Oh, here we go. Here's another video. Justin Trudeau's ego. Perfect. Perfect. Any account called Justin Trudeau's ego. Perfect. So what is this? These are the best videos we got, huh? People out there saying that the MH370 videos look fake. Well, what the hell are we looking at in these whatchamacallit, drone videos that we got here? These look even faker. If you gave this to the Corridor crew, they would 100% say this is fake. They'd be like, nah, this is fake. These clouds that you see in the front is just a After Effects overlay. They'd be like, I could fake this in 5 minutes. I could fake this in 5 minutes, chat. What am I even looking at here? Is that supposed to be a crash site? Wouldn't there be like pieces on the ground somewhere? Are there trees here? I have no sense of scale. It says 4,519 feet. And then what is this? What is this? What am I looking at right here? Oh wow, yeah, we won. Okay. I guess that's a splat. Huh. Okay. Yeah, this is just some cloud brushing, guys. This is just artifacts. These clouds you see that are in front of the camera here, these are just artifacts. Okay. Well, we looked at this enough. I don't know, maybe it'll be updates tomorrow on what that was all about. Let's move on to the next thing. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Let's rapid fire through some of this. Okay. Boy, this saga of this Amy Eskridge letter was weird. Weird. So let me set the tone for you guys. I was just, doing my normal looking around on Twitter, and I see this post. I don't even remember who posted it anymore. And it's got this weird letter on it. Normally I ignore everything UFO community related. But I thought it was interesting because, first of all, the typing of it looked like, it's got these weird markings on the top. So it does look somewhat official. And then it's directed to Scott Pace, Executive Secretary of the National Space Council, which is some random guy that most people have never heard of. I've never heard of, but he's actually that. He was appointed by Trump in 2017. And you can see it also says CC President Trump and Mike. That doesn't mean they read it, but it means that it's like trying to get to them, So it does mean that there's something going on related to this letter. Guys, don't be like what the Dan Islander. Like, guys, I don't know. People like this, they wonder, like, why do I get blocked? Why do I get banned from the channel? Like, if you're gonna act like a little like 5-year-old bitch, then yeah, you're gonna get blocked. You're gonna get banned. Like, I'm not ever unbanning or unblocking anyone either. So if you are like the kind of person that can't help but like be a horrible dickhead all the time, every day in your life, then just go somewhere else, man. No one's making you be here, bro. Peace. You're gone. I don't get it. I just don't get why people are like that, you know? Anyway. So the other interesting thing here says, due to the leaks of the DIRDs, the Defense Intelligence Research Documents, DIRD, from the DIA ASAP program or ASAP program. And I recognized right away, those are the papers we've been reading. Those are the papers. What happened to freedom of speech in the chat? What happened? What happened to freedom of speech? For the record, people don't understand what freedom of speech means. It means that only thing freedom of speech means is that your government cannot come down on you and they can't arrest you for the things that you say. That's it. And there's even exemptions to that. You don't have any freedom of speech on Twitter. You don't have any freedom of speech in my chat. You don't have any freedom of speech in my replies. You're not entitled to harass me or to even be in my replies. You have no entitlement, no legal right to any of that stuff. Just people need to just wrap that through your brains. If I block you, it means you're not welcome and you should go about your way and do something else. That's it. Okay. This is interesting though, because we've been going over these papers for a while. Oh, somebody donated. Thank you very much. Lone Wolf 36S. I think it was a weapon, not necessarily a teleportation, more a dematerialization. Your thoughts? This is a question I get a lot, is why is it not like a destructive event? And I would say I only think there's about a 1% chance that it's a destructive event in the drone video here, or in both videos. And the reason for that is when we get to the end here is that, first of all, if you wanted this plane to be destroyed, you could just let it crash. You could just let this plane crash. It's already on fire. It looks like it's attempting an emergency landing. If it lands in the ocean, everybody's going to die. So right away, there's no reason to destroy it. And there's too much going on with the orbs. Like, you just send a missile up at it if you want to destroy it, or an antimatter missile. You don't go through all this effort of having these dancing orbs spinning around the plane. There's too much purpose going on there. You don't need to have the whole mapping of the plane if your whole intent is to just destroy it. You can make it look like a crash and an accident, and then you could destroy it that way. But I do think this technology can potentially do what you're saying, which is like, destroy a plane and leave no trace. Theoretically, I think this technology could do that. And there's high value intellectual property on board as well. And there's easier ways to destroy a plane as well. So those are the main reasons why I think there's like less than a 1% chance that it's some type of destructive event. But you could also argue that they accidentally, like that they were trying to teleport the plane and then it didn't go well, like something went wrong, horribly wrong. I think you could argue that as well. And I think you could argue that this is some type of version of like cloaking as well. Although when you see these frames where this is like consistent with a wormhole. When we looked at those DIRDs, especially the one about traversable wormholes, what we see here with this cold endothermic event is consistent with a wormhole. So this is the reason why, I believe that what we're looking at there is actual teleportation, but it's not dematerialization. The options are some type of warp drive, which would be like macroscopic phase conjugation, which is like reverting to a wave function, versus like a literal wormhole of actually traversing through a wormhole and then just appearing somewhere else. So hopefully that answers your question. Thank you very much for your donation. Appreciate it. So then going back to this though, but that's what's crazy about this letter is that it's referencing the DIRDs. So no matter how you look at this letter, it's pretty weird. It talks about people like Lou Elizondo, A-Tip. I don't care about any of all that stuff. There's so much drama about it. Was A-Tip real, not real, whatever. The point is that somebody was sending this letter and they wanted it to get to Donald Trump. They were trying to pass some information about these papers that we've been reading that are consistent with what we're seeing in two videos. And And to the point of the cloaking, yes, Philadelphia experiment. I think that's why the difference between cloaking and teleportation or like a wormhole is very slim. Because just in the same way where if you produce an over unity device, a free energy device, it begins to lose mass. It actually gets lighter. There's this side effect, right? You get free energy, you extract it from the ether, and now your device cools down and it starts to float or get lighter. Same idea when it comes to cloaking. When you try to cloak all the electromagnetic signals around your object, you're actually displacing it from space-time. And once you've displaced it from space-time, that's a wormhole. That's anti-gravity. Like, so that's why like there's this blurred line between like some type of hyper advanced cloaking. If you can cloak all the electromagnetic signatures, then what's even there anymore? It's like when you're looking at a wormhole and not even light, or a black hole and not even light can escape. Like, what is that? So it kind of brings like those same questions up, which is what makes it very confusing. Creates a bubble pretty much. And that's what I think that the Philadelphia experiment accidentally did. I think the Philadelphia experiment accidentally displaced a battleship from space-time. And that's why it teleported. It didn't really teleport it. It changed the flow of time for the people inside on the ship relative to everybody on the outside, which made it appear somewhere else pretty much instantly. Pretty wild. Yeah, black hulks and black holes. Lots of interesting talk tonight. So this was interesting. Anyway, then I got a call from David Altman. He replied back saying, it's a hoax. It's a hoax. It's a hoax. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't know, dude. I don't care. So I make this follow-up post after looking through some replies back and forth. And here was the thing. Apparently, Amy Eskridge drafted this letter with Sam Neill. I didn't know who Sam Neill was. I don't know who any of these UFO people are or any of this stuff. Amy Eskridge drafted this letter. I was like, what? And then I'm like, this just got 10 times more crazy. Like, I just thought this was a random letter that was being sent to, Trump or whatever. And then I find out that Amy Eskridge, who is an anti-gravity researcher who like mysteriously took her own life a couple of years ago, who was like experiencing, I don't know if it was Havana syndrome, but she claimed she was getting like some kind of microwave attack done to her. She's the one that sent this letter? What? I was like, okay. And then apparently it got to somebody related to the UAPX, the Nimitz incident. This is a real letter, though. So the argument was that somebody's claiming that it was hoaxed, as in like somebody sent this to somebody else under false pretenses. That's not what a hoax is, though. The letter is a real letter. At least that's what I gleaned from talking through both sides and trying to figure it out. And then I said that, if at a minimum, if this is true, then it shows Amy was trying to get prominent people to take note of the DIA science papers, which include warp drive, traversable wormholes, manipulation of gravity, and 0-point energy, and also manipulation of extra dimensions. So, I mean, to me, that's pretty wild. And then the final follow-up was this one here, where then Sam Reed. So it wasn't Sam Neill, Sam Reed. Sorry, Sam. I apologize. I got your last name. I was hearing it secondhand. He says that he met with Scott Pace and that he and Amy wrote this. He says he and Amy wrote this, never intended to be public. And he said that he met with Scott Pace, the guy who's like in the 2 line. He says he met him in person. So now I'm like, what do you mean hoax? Somebody literally met with him. Here's the post. The document, here's the guy, Samuel Reed. Right here. He didn't follow me before this either, by the way, guys. Like, he says, the document was written by Amy and I with someone working with the agency S&T, Science and Technology, maybe, office, and was never intended to be public. A leak surreptitiously disseminated it through Nimitz incident to people. So Orcon OPSEC changed. I don't know what these acronyms mean. I don't care. I did meet Scott Pace in person. Results of Defense Intelligence Agency mail attached. Well, there you go. Defense Intelligence Agency, Washington, D.C. says Samuel Reed right here, FOIA requests. March 17th, 2022. And then here's the list of all the papers. Look at the list of all the papers right here. Here's the DIRDS, materials for advanced aerospace platforms, the role of superconductors in gravity research, warp drive, dark energy, manipulation of extra dimensions. I mean, what? Hold on. Ah, shit. Guys, I got to get my. I wish I could get this post up. Here we go. What? Right? I mean, it's pretty wild to me, chat. So, I just thought that was crazy. So I don't know. This whole letter that Amy Eskridge wrote is pretty wild, man. Sam Neill's response was really wild. So I don't know why people are trying to convince people it's a hoax when the guy that like literally helped write the letter came out and was like, no, I met with this guy and everything, and this guy was appointed under Trump. Like, there's definitely powerful people that are paying attention to this science that's out there. And that's consistent with what I've said about people that there's people out there that are powerful that are looking at the MH370 videos. Whether or not people think they're fake or not, whatever, I know there's people out there that are taking a keen interest in them, so to speak. Now, let's go ahead and play my letter to Ashton Forbes. If you were here yesterday, you've already this, okay? This was not going to be anything new to you. I literally just clipped this from my yesterday's stream, by the way. I'm rocking the shirt. Joe, it's Ashton. I'm really sorry that I leaked the DMs. I did not mean any personal disservice towards that. It was a situation where it was beyond my control. I was being called a liar. I had to show the DMs. I'm sorry about that. I'll never leak DMs ever again. I want to be on your show, Joe. The reason why I want to be on your show is because I believe I can convince you, I can convince the whole world that the MH370 videos are real. I am willing to refute all the VFX debunk attempts that have been out there on your show, spend time and do that as well. But I also want to talk about stuff like Thomas Bearden, phase conjugation, free energy, the ether, and how UFOs potentially fly. Anti-gravitational technology, gravity manipulation, space-time manipulation, EM drive, and I want to talk about where the trajectory of our civilization is after this. I just want to give information to you, Joe Rogan, and to the world. If at the end of the conversation, you think that I'm in any way disingenuous or that you just don't believe the MH370 videos are real, then I will stop investigating MH370 entirely, cold turkey, won't mention the plane again. I will agree to not even bring up MH370 for an entire year. I am willing to put everything on the line, everything, just for one chance to help inform the world about what might be the biggest revelation in the history of our civilization. You've had people like Terrence Howard on who've talked about the ether, talked about phase conjugation. You've had other people in the past who've talked about things like teleportation, warp drive capabilities, as well as advanced physics and how the science has been suppressed from us. You've talked about anti-gravity researchers going away, disappearing, like Ning Li. We can talk about all of that. I'm willing to go through all of the case of MH370. I'm even willing to go against any kind of other expert on the MH370 videos, on the MH370 investigation, and any physicist that's out there that you want to bring on the show. I will argue and debate against any of them on it, and you can be the moderator. That's my proposal to you, Joe. I hope you consider it. Thank you very much. This is Ashton. Okay, so that was the post I made earlier today. That was from last night where we did that. I think it's a good deal. So the context is, and I'm pretty much just reading right off here, the MH370 videos are never going away. They're never going away. We've already gotten the zeitgeist at this point. People are polarized one way or another. Some people who've been following the case know these videos are real. People that are skeptics and debunkers, you know, they think that it's hurting the families and all this other nonsense that's out there. So, you know, I figured let's put some skin in the game. Let's go ahead and say, you know what, I'm willing to risk everything. if that I will go on Joe Rogan, and if Joe Rogan is still skeptical at the end of it, thinks that the videos are fake or whatever, or thinks that I'm somehow not being honest and I'm just trying to grift people or whatever the other crap is, if he comes out at the end and says, yes, I want you to stop investigating this because he doesn't think that it's legit, then I'll stop. And I won't ever talk about, I was going to say I'll never talk about MH370 again, but that's not really reasonable, right? Like, what if something comes up and it turns out the videos are real, right? So I said that I won't mention MH370 for a year. So people were asking, like, what do you mean when you say, like, you're not going to talk about it anymore? So the answer is I wouldn't mention MH370 for an entire year. Let's just leave it at that. Let's say that's the thing, right? So a whole year of not talking about it. Presumably, if it's fake, by a year later, everything would have died down and been let go, right? So I think that's the clarification on that. Somebody asked about leaked DMs. There's a whole drama about leaked DMs. So if you're not familiar with the story of what led up to this, back in February, Joe Rogan direct messaged me and asked me to come on. And then he backed out the next day after we had a set a date and all this stuff that was out there. And I mentioned it on one of my streams that he had reached out, and immediately all the people that hate me were like, Ashton's lying. He's lying, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, and so then there was this big space where I'm like, guys, I'm not lying about this. Like, you guys are just digging your hole deeper, which is what they do every single time. And so then I leaked just like one direct message, like the, hey, Joe Rogan, blah, blah, blah. And all the debunker people said I photoshopped it. They said I photoshopped it. They're like, oh, it's missing the check mark and this stuff. And I'm like, what? I was like, I just took it on my phone. I don't know, dude. Like, it's just a message from Joe Rogan. And so then I had to like do a video. I had to make a video scrolling up and down so that it would show people it was really from Joe Rogan with his 12.2 million followers that he had at the time. He probably has more now. And so it became all this drama. Like, the Skyfire News people made like 4 posts about it. They were huge. All my posts had hundreds of thousands of views related to it. And so I can see why he might be like a little skeptical about talking anymore. But so the next day he came back and he sent me a link to like the Danny Jones interview. Like, I think this is hoaxed. Sent me a link to one of the Reddit posts. I don't know if it was the Cloud one or the other one, but one of them being like, I think this has been faked. And then also I think the debunkers ended up reaching out to somebody in his area, and they found out that he had really invited me and that he backed out or whatever. So, yeah, the haters always ruin it. And then apparently we found out afterwards from Kurt Metzger that Kurt Metzger went on and he apparently told Joe Rogan about me. He was calling me the autistic guy, which is okay. Coming from Kurt Metzger is a little hypocritical, but we'll let it slide. I don't mind. And then Joe Rogan revealed that Jeremy Corbell had told him that he thought the videos were fake, which is a real bitch move on Jeremy Corbell's front. Like, Jeremy Corbell is a bitch. Like, I can't imagine cock blocking somebody, trying to prevent them from getting on Joe Rogan, especially when you're somebody who claims to be for disclosure. Jeremy Corbell is a fraud, 100%. Dude's a complete fraud. I'm throwing it out there. The guy wouldn't last 5 minutes in a debate with me about science or UFOs or anything. That's the sad part. And this is a guy that pushes like pictures of flares and bokeh and what's the other thing the debunkers say? Floating jellyfish monsters. The sad part is I defended Jeremy Corbell in the past. I defended him against the people that debunked all his stupid videos. And then he goes and cock blocks me. And he was one of the first people to follow me. Big name people back in like October, September. And I DM'd him and just never DM'd me back. So, yeah, Jeremy Corbell, definitely a fraud. I would be very questionable about George Knapp as well, who he hangs out with a lot. I used to respect these guys, and I lost all respect for them. This is why I don't deal with UFO community people at all. They're all fucking weirdos and grifters and people that are like, have all these agendas behind the scenes. I just don't do any of that shit, guys. Not interested. Okay, so that's the whole drama. If you needed to be caught up on it. And it's funny too, because I used to tell like Jeremy Reese, who's the alien scientist, hates Jeremy Corbell and some of these other guys. And I kept telling him to like chill out on him. Let's not try to start any drama. But then I find out that Jeremy Corbell's like literally preventing me from going on Joe Rogan and telling the world the truth about anti-gravitational technology. Like I've got proof of gravity manipulation, space-time manipulation in 2 military videos that were leaked to the public. The MH370 videos are infinitely better than anything Jeremy Corbell has ever shown the world in his entire life combined. Better than everything Jeremy Corbell has combined shown the world, and infinitely better than anything Jeremy Corbell's ever shown in his whole career, in his whole life to the world. And for some reason, he's trying to prevent me from showing it to the world on Joe Rogan. That's pretty damn weird, chat. Pretty damn weird. Yeah, I did Coast to Coast AM, guys, with Richard Syrett. And it's weird because it wasn't with George Knapp, who you would think would be the one who would want to do it. So I've been suspicious of George Knapp for a while now. And I've been suspicious of Jeremy Corbell for a while. Especially because Jeremy Corbell said that Commander Fravor of the Nimitz incident we were just talking about, he was told by the CIA that what he saw was Lockheed Martin technology. And Jeremy Corbell just wouldn't believe it, refused to believe it. What? Bro, defense contractor technology. Like we've figured out gravitational manipulation. Like we figured it out. The CIA literally told Commander Fravor. So, okay. The other thing is that apparently Bart Sibrel, probably butchering his last name, is apparently one of these people that thinks that the moon landing was fake or whatever. And he's going on Joe Rogan. I've never heard of the guy. Maybe I'll look him up real quick. Sibrel. How do you spell his name? Sibrel. Apparently he's going on Joe Rogan, which is kind of wild. Oh, yeah. Here's a clip right here. So you can have people that go on Joe Rogan and talk about the moon landing being fake, but a plane that disappeared 10 years ago without its trace, where they never found anything in the South Indian Ocean with the coordinates, that's too much for people. Or we've got 2 perfectly in sync military videos that were leaked to the public that show gravity manipulation and a wormhole. That's too much, huh? Wait, he's the guy that got punched by Buzz Aldrin? No, is he? You got the guy that got punched by Buzz Aldrin. That's what's his name? Bart Sibrel. Hold on, I might have to pull that up. I don't think it's him, right? And then let's get into the Terrence Howard thing. Is that true? Chad, is that true? That is him? Come on, man. Joe Rogan, come on, bro. If you are platforming a dude who got punched by Buzz Aldrin because he's bullshitting about not landing on the moon, and somehow me with more evidence than most court cases, if not all court cases, get
that you walked on the moon.
Please.
Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon?
I'm not trying to get
You tell him to get out of here.
This is a hotel.
We'll call the police.
We pay.
Come on in here. We'll call the police.
Solicit
You like that? Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon?
it doesn't, sir. I don't have nothing to do with this. But
Okay.
you cannot solicit on this property.
We just paid
Right now-
to rent out the penthouse to shoot up there.
You
So
can't solicit like this on this property.
keep
All right. Well, then I.
where in the Bible you walked on the moon?
you got to keep shooting, man. Okay, well you can put it on your shoulder. Don't be shy.
Come with me, Buzz.
You really like it?
You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling the kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I
You
misrepresented
get
myself.
away from me.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief. Calling the kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I
You
misrepresented
get
myself.
away from me.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
You got fucking dunked on. Oh man. I mean, I honestly gotta respect Buzz Aldrin there in that one. I mean, you get in my face and you try to say I'm a liar and a coward or something. Yeah, you know, you might get slapped down. Probably not, but wow. Okay. Sure. Yeah, I mean, that dude was asking for it. So that guy gets to go on Joe Rogan. And people are worried about me harming the families. This guy's talking about we didn't go to the moon, getting slapped by Buzz Aldrin. Anyway, okay, guys. Wild. Let's go to the next thing. Whew. Okay, so real quick, why we're not doing the science tonight is because I'm tired. And I didn't get time to go through all the scientific papers and make notes because I was busy editing the clips that I was working on and doing the posts of the drone videos. It takes a lot of effort, man. That's why people talk about like, oh, somebody just made this in a couple hours. Guys, it takes like an hour just to edit an existing video down to like 1 minute and add like the captions to it. It takes like an hour to do that. People think they made that both MH370 videos in like a few hours. You're out of your mind, dude. Some people just have no idea how long it takes to like edit stuff. And that's just video editing, not even CGI stuff and like zero mistakes. Somebody just donated. Mangelos, thank you very much again. How does the infrared satellite sense photons from the clouds? How does the infrared satellite sense photons from the clouds? That's the same question twice. I don't know what you mean when you say photons from the clouds. I think that what you mean is that there's more infrared radiation on the top of the clouds compared to the bottom of the clouds. But in the end of the day, the satellite video, when we look at it, is a false color infrared. And it also might have inverted heat temperature settings as well. We don't know what the settings are. So I can't claim to know unknowable information. But when we look at this as well, and we know it's false color as well because of the fact that it is nighttime and there's no shadows anywhere. There's no shadows anywhere on here. Some people have tried to argue there is directional lighting, and then I just say from what direction? We know the direction of travel of the plane is to the east over here from the north. It's going south into the east. So where is the directional lighting? Like when we look at some of these clouds, why is there no directional lighting on almost any cloud out there? And the answer is because this is an infrared sensor here, sending information to a ground-based computer system that's building the computer terrain. And it's funny because the debunkers, it's actually pretty similar to probably how you would create it if you were faking it. It's probably how it really gets produced. And we've even recently found some documents that basically indicate that using like NRO computer systems, they can create a project, and then they can basically the way I imagine it is like look somewhere on the world, pick a date and time, and you can make a project to develop an operation or for intelligence purposes, from historical information, and then produce these videos. So I imagine that's the system that they're logged into here and how they created this, because this wasn't done in real time. The person that filmed this, and this was something that I struggled with right away, was like, how is this being recorded? Is that this was recorded after the fact, and this was a situation where it wasn't being tracked in real time. We know that because they moved the screen over at the end as well. So somebody logged in later on after this disappeared. So they must have probably witnessed it firsthand, and then they created this recording, and that's why we know they got caught for sure. Because if you were doing this in real time, this isn't what you imagine it's going to look like. Which actually helps the situation because these satellites are beaming the data to these computer databases. And presumably they can track stuff in real time as well. But it's a lot easier to rationalize if it was something that was recorded after the fact, that they pulled up the data afterwards. And there's also, like, we found cameras that can show that they can produce, like, turn nighttime into daytime, like just pitch black nighttime. And they can make it look like this with blue colors and stuff like this as well. So when you see this shining here of these clouds, really most likely what you're seeing is more infrared radiation on the top of the clouds compared to the bottom. And again, you can tell there's not directional lighting because this cloud on the bottom isn't illuminated like these other ones are. If this was the sun beaming on them, you're going to see this cloud lit up. And when the airplane goes past some of these clouds, we're going to see a huge shadow of an airplane on one of them. No matter what the angle, we can't really tell the exact angle, but this plane goes past several clouds, and there's no shadows anywhere. Like right over here somewhere, presumably, especially when it goes right over this cloud formation here, this thick, fat cloud formation, we should see a shadow of this plane on top of one of these clouds somewhere here. We see nothing. So hopefully that answers that question. No survivors in the helicopter crash. That feels bad. Feels bad. Rest in peace. And I also think that if it is heat signatures, which infrared technically is, then it's most likely inverted. Remember a second ago, we were looking at the drone video of the helicopter crash zone that we were just looking at in Iran. It was all black. Black is hot. So when we see that black spot there, that's hot. So it's hot black sometimes. So they have a type of inverted infrared where you can flip it between black is hot or black is cold. So probably what we're looking at there, the reason why it's all white and not black is because that's a cold event. That's why people say, well, why is it white in the satellite video? So when I pull up this satellite video, I'll pull it up one more time. Why is this event white? That right there. Why is that white like that? It's white like that because it's cold. If it was hot, it would be a black explosion. This would be all black, but it's not. And we've seen other infrared sensors that show black as hot. We just looked at one earlier with the drone, with the infrared. It's called a bow palette. Okay. I don't know what that means, but that's cool. If you have any information about the bow palette or anything else you want to help with our Discord, I'm going to go ahead and put a Discord invite in right now into the chat. Because we're always looking for more evidence, more information. The beauty of these being real videos is like we would never have found like half this information unless these videos were real. Like this, there's way too much corroborating real world information about how the cameras work, how all this stuff works, etc. There's your Discord invite. And by the way, I only post Discord invites for 1 day because we get a lot of trolls. So no trolling. That's the only requirement in the chat or in the Discord. Okay. Next thing, let's get on to the main event here. We're already 55 minutes into this. Yeah, Iran's now learning never to F with Israel. Yeah, and Israel is allied to the United States, and you don't mess with the United States unless you want to get your plane orbed away into another dimension. No problem, Emma. Glad you're here, guys. And thanks, everybody, for being here as well. I just saw another good comment. If this was a fake video, how the bloody hell would somebody know the satellite info on the bottom left? Yeah, exactly. The satellite info on the bottom left of the satellite video, that should have been enough. That should be enough proof. Like, what hoax videos like NROL 22? I didn't even know what the fuck NROL 22 or any NROL meant before this. Like, normal people out there, like random kids and shit, they don't even know what NROL means. National Reconnaissance Office launch. Like, no one even knows what that crap meant before. The fact that it says NROL 22, which is the first launch of the Cyber system in 2006, like, that should be like dead proof right there that we're looking at a real satellite video. Not to mention that the coordinates, like if you put coordinates in there, you would just have them be like 92.3 or something like that. You wouldn't have 6 decimal places. And they move accurately when the shift moves as well. Like it's real coordinates. It's a real coordinate system. That's not like somebody put random numbers in the bottom left. It's real coordinates and real coordinate shifts. Accurate to 6 decimal places. When it moves, all the coordinates are moving realistically. And it's not like it just goes from one location immediately to the next location. Like you can actually see the little numbers switch as it's moving. Like that's already absolute proof the videos are real. But for a lot of people, they just need so much proof. Oh, another donation. Wow. Man, you guys are on fire. Nuamua? Is that how you say it? Nuamua? Is that how you say that name, guys? Oh, man, I'm so bad with names. I know you don't like ufology. God, I can't believe I just called it ufology. But it's honestly pretty hard not to link the technology that could be responsible for the sightings going back to the 1940s much further. Or do you think this technology was reverse engineered? So great question. I get that on several podcasts as well. I'm on the record back in November saying this has got to be reverse engineered. The truth is I started thinking this had to be non-human intelligence. And then that only lasted about a week. And I looked at that drone video like 10 times. I'm like, wait, no, I'm like, we knew what was about to happen here. Like, we knew. And then I started talking to the scientists, and I was like, okay, this is us. And then I thought, okay, we must have reverse engineered it. And now I don't know anymore. So what I've been saying the most recent podcast is like, the more I learn, the less I'm sure about where this comes from. Now I'm thinking maybe we accidentally figured it out the same time where we learned how to split the atom and drop the bomb. And this could go back to the Philadelphia experiment in 1943. It could go back to the Foo Fighters and Nazi stuff going back before then. So there's even a possibility in my mind that we've been just covering this up with the whole aliens thing. And that this is just, we've discovered this, and that's just how we've been hiding it for like 80 years. It's just, we keep talking about UFOs and aliens when it's just been us the whole time. The truth is, I have no idea. I really just don't know. It could be anything. Everything's on the table. Aliens, crypto-terrestrials, ultra-terrestrials, future humans, just it's a big psyop, everything. That's the crazy part. The more I learn about it, the less I have any idea of what the nature of it is. And that's the funny part, is that even if these videos are real, it's not going to change anything in UFOlogy, because everybody in UFOlogy just wants to know about aliens. And this doesn't answer any of those questions. It brings more questions up. Like, okay, well, the hell, if we got some floaty freaking orbs, plasma orbs that can defy gravity and have warp drive and teleport objects, like, what does that mean about the nature of our universe and our reality and where this stuff came from? And now it opens the door to aliens being able to visit us. So it's just going to get weirder, chat. That's the beauty of these videos, is even if the videos are real, it's just the answers, just the questions just keep piling up. And that's what I want to like dig into after this, is like, you know, if we can get an admission from the AARO that these videos are real and we've got some crazy advanced technology out there, then the next step is, okay, let's try to figure out where this all came from. Like, this is pretty crazy. I didn't know we would have floaty orbs that can do you know, teleportation. Okay, let's get ourselves copyright striked, everybody. So if you're watching the recording of this on YouTube, you're probably not going to see anything after this, because it's most likely going to get deleted. But if you're watching live, we can enjoy this. I'm going to go through a few clips. And yeah, Rob, thank you very much. Appreciate it. He says, I like Ashton's perspective. Stick to what you can prove. Stick to the facts. That was the advice Florence DeChang gave me. She was one of the MH370 initial investigators. Yeah, I can't prove aliens. I can't prove Atlantis. I can't even prove where the plane went. That's why everyone's like, where'd the plane go? What happened to the passengers? I can't prove any of that. I don't know. I have circumstantial evidence that says the plane ended up in Diego Garcia, but I can't prove it. I can prove I got 2 videos of the plane getting warped away, and I've got 3 different sources that corroborate it. 2 videos, a witness sighting, and a Mayday call only reported in the China Times. So I can prove that. I can prove a fire event. I just can't prove where the plane went and if aliens are real or any of that stuff. And I don't really care about aliens. People who've been watching know I don't care about what the alien situation is. I literally don't care if aliens are real or not. It does no bearing on my life. It'll have no bearing on my life going forward. Unless we start to get in the Star Trek world and then there's like Klingons or something out there, then that'd be pretty cool. But no, it doesn't have any immediate impact on my life. I just want free energy, my man. And so I'm just going to correct MediaBox. Yes, MediaBox, yes, the videos are real. The drone is not standing still. There's actually accurate camera shake because it's a real camera that we're looking at. The clouds are not standing still either. And I'm just going to go ahead and prove, just for people like MediaBox who are like, there's a lot of people out there that just are objectively wrong about everything related to these videos, and they don't do any looking into them or whatever. Again, I'm going to show you another video right now. For MediaBox and everybody else who think the clouds move or whatever, you're objectively wrong. The clouds do move in the drone, in the satellite video. 100% they move. Not only do they move, they evolve. They evolve. Okay, you understand? They're not fake. So here you guys go. I'm going to show you. For the people who think that the clouds aren't moving enough, your whole life is about to change. Okay, get ready for it. Hold on. Why? So here you go. Okay, guys, are these fake? Are these clouds fake too? What do you think, MediaBox? Are these clouds fake? They're not moving. Are these clouds fake, everybody? The clouds aren't moving. Are these clouds fake too? What do you guys think? Where's Media Box? Hey, Media Box, are these clouds fake too? Do the clouds look like they're moving? No. So every time I get some idiot like the Corridor crew trying to claim that the clouds move more, I'm just going to show this video right here. This is going to be the video I'm going to show that proves that from space, from 1,000 miles away or 1,000 kilometers away over a 5-second period, clouds do not look like they move. This shouldn't be even controversial, because you can literally just go look outside at your clouds and it's not going to look like they move. I don't know why the whole cloud movement thing is even controversial. Like, you have to be literally brain dead to think that the clouds are going to be flowing by over a 5-second period. Realize that when we look at the clouds in the satellite video, it's only 5 seconds for each frame. You think that the clouds are going to be flying by in a 5-second period? You're looking down from a satellite, bro. A satellite in outer space. I don't know what these people think, man. My God. So are we good here? The clouds don't look like they move. This isn't, I couldn't believe that was even a controversial thing. It goes to show that the Corridor crew are some of the dumbest motherfuckers on the whole planet. They're not even VFX experts. They're frauds. They're 100% frauds. If you follow people like the Corridor crew, you are an idiot. Find better heroes. Find better people to tell you the truth. I could take on all the Corridor crew at the same time. Their combined IQ is probably less than like room temperature combined. They're total morons. And Flo, man, I don't want all caps. I'm putting you in timeout, man. Don't spam caps and stuff like that. Also, don't tell me what to do as well, guys. When you're raging in the chat and stuff, like, you're gonna get put in timeout. I'm not banning you. I'm just putting you in timeout. So, okay, I think we're done with that. Let's go back to our Joe Rogan thing here.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Go to the clips here. Okay, and somebody asked another quick question. Can you give a brief overview of what free energy is and what does that mean for humanity? So, free energy, first of all, you have to understand, like, how can these orbs be, how do they even get energy when they're floating around? The way this kind of played out is that we found Thomas Bearden, and we found out that in order for there to be a wormhole, like we see in the drone, in the videos, you need to have an ether. That's really what is required, an extra dimension. And then once we found out about the extra dimension, we realized, well, the extra dimension presents unlimited negative energy. And to explain that, you can look at the Casimir effect. Google the Casimir effect right now. Casimir effect is when you put two plates together, the plates are going to attract to one another. And when the plates attract to one another, that's because there's a negative energy pressure between the two plates. With normally, you would think if I just put two plates next to each other, nothing should happen. They should just stay there. But no, put them too close and they kind of go together to one another. This is the same idea of what Terrence Howard, we're going to review it here in a second. The idea of the ether is the ether is like this negative pressure zone that our reality is painted on. That's why we don't see it, because it's like a self-correcting mechanism. And if you rip through to that, then we're going to have this collapse right away. And you can imagine that there's several ways where you could manipulate that energy that we see there to produce unlimited free energy. Thomas Bearden as well talked about it, where you can configure a device that can use that energy by capturing the magnetic fields so that they don't spread out. And then you can have a situation where your device is getting energy from the ether and you're putting energy into it. And then the total output of energy is greater than what's coming into it. That's the idea of free energy. So the idea of free energy is building a device that can extract energy from the ether, so to speak, that you can plug it in and it'll start running. You can unplug it and it can run forever. Run forever. That's the idea of free energy. And that's what this all leads to, is that in order for any of this to work, you need an ether. And when you need it, we get the ether, you have unlimited access to free energy. And when you think of negative energy, don't think of negative energy as like some exotic thing. It's just, I don't really know how to exactly describe it very well, but it's still energy. It's just like the inverse pressure between our space-time and whatever the fabric underneath it is, like that. Hopefully, what we're about to show here should answer some of those questions, but if not, we will do more science streams on it. And the truth is, I'm still learning it as we go as well. I've only been looking at the science for like 6 months, and we've already come this far. So you'll be able to catch up pretty quickly if you're not sure. Okay, so I'm going to post some of these clips, and you guys can ask more questions as we are listening to them. So where do we start here? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, 12 minutes. We're going to start at this. And sorry, Flo, for timing you out, but I don't like when people are spamming me, telling me what to do. So do not spam the chat with caps telling me what to do or not to do. If you can't hold it back, then just don't post. Okay, so he talks about this periodic table. It's pretty interesting here. I think we'll play it like right around here.
It's unwinding. And you see there's a relationship that hydrogen.
So you had figured this out at a young age?
So this part here is interesting. He talks about this periodic table you see in the bottom here, and that the periodic table as we know it doesn't really mesh, and that each element has a frequency. And if you double the frequency or half the frequency, then you are creating your other elements. So he gets this idea of geometry being the basis. So you could imagine it like this. In fractals, as Pierre points out, yeah, the idea where like, okay, this is our base thing, like two lines intersecting, then maybe we make a triangle out of it, then we make a cube out of it, and then you keep adding to it and making it more and more complex. Same thing could be true of elements, that elements are simply frequencies and wavelengths that are increasing or that are fractal, I guess would be the explanation. If you want to know what fractal is, it's like dividing it or duplicating it, that something builds on the last.
I had already seen this. This was this right.
Oops. I went too far.
Very first rap is so tight. That's the first one that Walter Russell did. Yeah. But go back to the Wiggly one. This is how I saw it more so, but as a vortex. But you'll see there's a relationship between hydrogen, carbon, silicon, cobalt, rhodium. They're all bonded. They're all sit as the middle point between two noble gases. So those things don't really exist. It's only one substance. Now the problem is the first thing that we're able to perceive is hydrogen. That's the first visible element, because before it is too dense for us to perceive it. You understand what I'm saying?
So this is kind of hard to track. I'm going to probably skip past this, but if you're interested in the sacred geometry stuff, then here you go. I saw a question related to MH370. I'm going to flip over right away. Why do you claim the debris could never have washed up on the east coast of Africa when all maps show the currents in the Indian Ocean at possible latitudes of a crash area going west? Well, I'm going to go ahead and debunk that in about 5 seconds here. Here, I have an actual map that I've been using. There you go. What does it look like? Which direction do you see these currents going down here? Here's the crash zone right here. These currents flow to the east. The currents don't flow to the west. You can go Google them, and you're going to find that all currents down here flow to the east. It's literally impossible for debris not to have washed up on the western coast of Australia. You can see here, then it flows back way up here to the west towards, oh, look, Diego Garcia is right there. Now look at where some of this debris is. Look at this one in South Africa down over here. Look at this one down here in South Africa. How does a piece of engine cowling, this is like one of these pieces of the engine, like this, the side of the engine, there's nothing sticks out of the water. How does that get from this crash zone floating all the way up over here around this, doesn't wash ashore in Diego Garcia, somehow goes past here and gets down here to South Africa in 18 months? That's over 3,000 miles away. Do the math. Literally impossible. I mean, when I say literally impossible, I mean literally impossible. Most of this debris is literally impossible for it to wash up here. Even you'll look into it, if you ask even anyone who's really an investigator, they will say it should have washed up on the western coast of Australia. How can no debris wash up? Not one piece wash it up on the western coast of Australia. There you go. Okay, let's flip back.
Okay.
But as you reach into the next octave, the carbon octave, and they call that a bisexual tone, because the carbon has two tones to it. It has a negative side and a positive side. The part where lithium behaves, lithium is contractive. Beryllium.
Lithium? I think he mentioned, does he mention lithium again? Oh, he does. He mentions lithium ion batteries later on, guys. Pretty weird. So, okay, I'm going to skip ahead because this one's not that exciting. But anyway, check into that. Also, I didn't mean to be rude to you as well there, but if you look at the stuff, like some people really underestimate how much knowledge I have about this plane and the evidence. Like when the BBC guy came at me yesterday and this pilot, like, guys, when I say I'm the expert at the videos, it means like I literally know more than anyone on the planet related to the videos. And I know as much about MH370 and all the evidence and everything than anybody else out there. Like I can stack up against any expert you want. That's just, I'm not me being egotistical, just the truth. I've just spent that much time on it. Okay, so let's skip ahead to 34 minutes because now he talks about these stable structures. This is really cool.
Horizontally, yeah.
Look at this.
It has four contractive poles because electricity is seeking a higher pressure condition and forcing it in, where magnetism is seeking a lower pressure condition and spun out. So the vortices, those tips, that's the magnetic field. That's where they begin. But it has an equal attractor and an equal amount of repulsion. So if you go to what happens when 8 bubbles meet, they gave me the patents to that. I called that the tetrient. This is
the negative space in between 8 bubbles.
8 bubbles. This is
really interesting because he's basically showing this idea of the pressure differential between the ether and our reality represented as electricity and magnetism. And he's looking at electricity and magnetism as equal and opposite, and which is interesting because when you look at the longitudinal waves like a sine wave, the magnetism is perpendicular to the electricity. Electricity will flow like this, and then magnetism flows perpendicular to it. And they create, I guess I need to find a picture to make it make sense, but you get the idea here. So when he really, I think that Terrence Howard really sees it intuitively. He sees the situation intuitively. And that's the thing that like, he loses me a little bit, but I think he understands and visualizes the universe in a very profound way.
It's a negative space where 8 bubbles meet, and you can scroll around.
And this is ignored when they're concentrating on straight lines.
Completely, because this, if you look from the top, I haven't violated anything. It fits perfectly inside of there. But this is the negative space where 8 bubbles meet, but you'll notice it has 8 contractive poles, but it only has 6 magnetic poles, 6 vortices, so it has a greater electrical potential than a repulsion.
So that's interesting. So if you take like the pointy bits as the electricity and the indented, what's the word I'm looking for? Not inverted, whatever, the concave part as the magnetism, then you don't have an equal number. You have 8 pointy parts and 6 indented parts. That's the word I was looking for. So he's saying that the electric potential is positive then.
So maybe this is the strong nuclear force, and the previous one was the weak nuclear force. So I was like, okay.
Concave, yeah.
I called this the Huntian after my son. So I was like, what happens when 6 bubbles meet? If you'll go to the one right in the center. Now you see that it has these huge bubbles, fast moving, but there's 6 strong spheres that's going around this, but the greater attractor has grabbed the 2 weaker attractors.
And so, I mean, and just we're going to be critical. That's fine. So, Dryder says Terrence Howard is a loon. Read his paper on 1 + 1 = 1. That was the part I think I agreed with him the least on, was this idea of like 1 × 1 doesn't equal 1, and there's no, that I think it's a little bit out there. But I do like the way that he visualizes the universe. And this is one of those things too, guys, where like just because you don't agree with somebody on one thing doesn't mean you should discredit everything they're saying. I think that we should be able to be critical and be open-minded about people's opinions. From the perspective of how he visualizes the universe and the ether and our reality and the electromagnetic forces, it feels pretty accurate, intuitively.
And this looks just like a photon, and guess what? It has 30 poles. What is the speed of light? 299,752,400 something. They rounded off to 300 million kilometers per second squared. But if you look at it from the top, you'll see that I haven't violated anything. This looks like what happens in nature. So I was like, okay, so they gave me the patents to this, but you'll see that there's 6 unaccounted electrical poles to it. So I was like, what happens when 12 bubbles meet if you go to the one right next to it?
So yeah, anyway, this is pretty cool. I just like these visualizations. I don't really understand it. I don't understand it all, but it does seem interesting because it's the idea that, like, do we even understand what like an atom really looks like? You know, we perceive this idea of an atom, but what if it's like really geometrical shapes? If you were to really be able to look at it, you know, we can't like see an atom, but we have these models for what they would look like. Whereas Terrence Howard, I think, is actually trying to explain it, you know, in a way that people can understand what it would actually theoretically look like. And yeah, some people say, although maybe he's logically right, you know, what if 1 times 1 does, you know, why does 1 times 1 equal 1? And I don't know. It's at the end of the day, I think it's just a matter of interpretation and your perspective. I didn't really agree with him on that part, but whatever. So let's look at the ether. And the next part, 46 minutes in.
All other possibilities, and you root it down to one thing. So that means going through the whole universe to answer one question. And that's the problem with probability. That's the problem with Heisenberg uncertainty. That's the problem with Schrodinger. All of those were just these probabilities because they had taken the ether out. They forgot the electromagnetic wave.
Mm-hmm.
It had to have a medium in which it followed on.
That is very profound. He is dead on that. All waves require a substrate. A wave in the water requires the medium, the water. A sound wave, guys, sound waves require air. If you go to outer space and you try to yell, there's not going to be any sound. Sound waves require air. Waves in the water require water as the medium. What is the medium for electromagnetism? What's the medium for it? We can shoot electromagnetic waves, radio waves through space. How? What's the medium? The medium is the ether. It's the ether. And this is the part where electromagnetic waves are longitudinal through the ether, the same way a sound wave is longitudinal through the air. Pretty cool, huh?
It had to have something in which it was moving on.
They don't exist in isolation.
No, they do not. And it cannot be the cause of its own action.
This guy feels like the Cat Williams of science, right? Where he's just like, hey, guys, so there's an ether and sacred geometry is the answer to the building blocks of the universe. And everyone's going, nah, this dude's crazy. Next thing you know, like, you're going to have Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about how there's an ether on, you know, some stupid TV show or something like that. You're going to be like, oh, turns out that we just got P. Diddy'd, you know, we just P. Diddy'd the ether.
An effect can never be the cause of the action. The chicken cannot come the egg cannot come before the chicken. The chicken has to be there first in order to lay it. It has to mate. Okay. And what Einstein left out was the equal and opposite of magnetism. So when back to Neil deGrasse, when he wrote his response to my paper, and he said, if you have any other questions, you're going to have to see somebody else, and he wouldn't take my calls anymore. I was like, okay. So I wrote the book based off of those responses, and I reached out to another guy, Dr. David Tong.
So anyway, so that's an interesting quote there. Also, whoever Mario is, buddy, like, don't make me embarrass you, my man. Just quick free advice, right? Like, if you try to talk down to me or condescend me, it doesn't matter how many PhDs you have or how smart you think you are. It's not going to go the way you imagine, man. People better than you have tried, and it always fails. And it's funny because I always warn people, and they always, every single time, they double down every time. And every time they get embarrassed. Wait, was Mario that guy who was arguing with us in Twitter the other day? Telling you, man, it's gonna get dunked on. Okay, so let's go to another minute. So he talks about the Michelson Morley experiment here as well in a second, which I just thought was wild.
That everything that they had taught was this, and they gave the best understanding and interpretation that they had of it. But it was all a lie because they didn't understand how it worked.
Wait, I think it's like here. I don't know where it starts. Maybe here.
With such vitriol that I was like, oh, okay, maybe I need to walk away from
Yo,
this.
he made me feel bad
Dr.
for him right here. That when he says that vitriol part right there, that's where he was talking about how Neil deGrasse Tyson like pooped on his ideas and he just like wanted to give up. That feels bad, man. I feel really bad for him there. Like, dude, he really humanized himself in that moment where he's like, yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson, like he was my hero. I saw him on Cosmos. I wanted to look at my ideas and he just crapped all over them. Damn, man. Neil deGrasse Tyson, you're a piece of shit, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Even if I didn't agree with Terrence Howard on his 1 × 1 = 2 or whatever stuff, like, so what? Still listen to the guy. He's obviously a pretty smart guy.
David Tong from Cambridge, a professor at Cambridge, did a video on physics of the world, and he said it's all a lie. And he explained that there was these 16 fields, that everything that they had taught was this, and they gave the best understanding and interpretation that they had of it. But it was all a lie because they didn't understand how it worked. Why? Because the Michelson-Morley experiment.
So here comes the Michelson-Morley experiment. Also, who just said that great thing? Not having a formal education or brainwashing might make it easier to understand. It's actually, I think, somewhat true. I was talking to my buddy Dave Rossi. He's a DoD contractor and engineer. And I was like, man, I wish I had known you years ago or known about the science years ago. I would have studied electrical engineering. He's like, it might be better that you didn't learn it earlier because a lot of people, you get indoctrinated into this idea that this is the way it must be, especially when you're in school. Like, I think if Mario is that guy that, that was in Twitter, I don't know if he was or not, but there was this guy in Twitter that was talking about, oh, I go to a prestigious school, therefore I know everything and you don't. Like, that's the exact kind of hubris that prevents science from advancing, because obviously we don't know everything because we don't know what dark matter is. We don't know what dark energy is. There's a bunch of stuff we can't explain at all. We have no unification theory. We can't explain quantum field theory in terms of why it's not represented in general relativity. And yet they proclaim like they know everything when obviously we don't. Obviously something is wrong. This is why we can't solve anything because we have so much ego as a species that we can't just go back and think, well, maybe we messed up somewhere back then. Maybe when we reduced Heaviside equations, we screwed up. We know gravity waves are a thing. We see them with LIGO. We can see gravity waves. So the question is, why can't we manipulate them? We know they're related to electromagnetism. Why can't we manipulate them? It should be obvious. We messed up when we reduced Maxwell's equations. And the problem is that when you learn that Heaviside wrote it correctly and it's fine that we reduced 20 equations down to 4, then you blind yourselves to the truth. And that's what happened to that guy. And then instead you become condescending and cocky about it instead of just admitting you were wrong and learning science the correct way.
From 1887, where they were trying to define the ether or the earth in this etheric space. Problem was they kept with Newtonian laws, so they thought the ether didn't move. They thought it was still. But there was another guy, Larmor, that did it in early 1800s, and he went off of Thomas Young, who influenced the Fresnel lens, influenced Fresnel, who came up with the Fresnel lens. But he talked about a moving ether that had opposing vortices.
Mm.
So there's two major revelations related to the Michelson-Morley experiment. One was that either there is no ether or that the ether was moving with the Earth. And they just moved away and said, okay, we're going to move away from the ether because Einstein's general relativity came about. And we said, oh, well, that explains it better. This is where we messed up. We got to go back to some of these old science concepts. We got to bring the ether back. We got to realize, like, wait, the Michelson-Morley experiment was 1885. Or how confident are we of those interpretations? And that's why I showed the experiment earlier, which I'm going to go show again right now real quick. Because this experiment, and it's only 2 minutes long, this casts doubt on the entire Michelson-Morley experiment. I was able to find, somebody sent it to me, whoever, if you're the person who sent this to me, thank you. I spent like an hour editing it down to 2 minutes, but it's pretty profound. Martin Gorstruck was the guy that had posted it, or his video that I found. There it is. So let's watch this. So here's the setup. It's a very simple setup. There's a laser. There's a mirror here reflecting it. So we spin around horizontally. There's nothing happening here in the fringe. I don't know if the sound is on. So you shift it 360 degrees, spinning around. Absolutely nothing happens. The interference pattern stays exactly right there. It doesn't move. So you could argue that this is equivalent to Michelson-Morley, where they looked at it, they did their experiment, and they realized, oh, the interference pattern is not moving. So this means that there must not be an ether. You should detect some disturbance if there's an ether. So they switch it around, and then he says, okay, well, what if we don't do it horizontally? What if we do it vertically? Now, why is vertically important? Because there's more gravity at the surface of the Earth than there is above. Now, in this case of this experiment, the difference in the gravity between the top and the bottom is basically negligible because it's just not that far of a distance. So I wouldn't expect there to be a major difference here. But what happens? Look at it. Boom. It's moving. It's moving a lot. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that movement. Why is that happening? And so it actually stops at 2 points, and then he shows it because you can actually see it goes one way and then it goes the other way. And the reason why it's doing that is there's 2 points on the 360-degree rotation that are like the equilibrium points. And where are those equilibrium points? They're exactly where the mirrors line up with the flatness of the Earth. Wild. Get ready. I'll show you. Right there. So this is what he's saying is the parts where it stops moving are right where it perfectly matches where the mirror is. This is the mirror right here, the mirror right here. The mirror is perfectly parallel to the flatness of the Earth at the part where it stops moving. Whoa. When I look at this experiment, I go, we are missing something here. This is a very, very interesting experiment. One of the most interesting experiments I've ever seen, up there with the double slit experiment. I can't believe this has been ignored. Why has this been ignored? Who can explain this? So I don't know what 11 to 11.5 peaks is, but it sounds like a lot. I mean, we can literally just see that thing moving around, right? So this definitely makes me wonder about the idea that maybe there's an ether. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead of that. I don't know if you guys can even hear this. Hopefully you can. Oh, yeah, you can't hear it? Okay. Sorry. I must not have been sharing the right way. So anyway, he was saying that there's like 11 peaks there, so it's been a lot of change. I think I explained it well though for you guys. So if anyone can explain that, please let me know. No, I'm not a flat earther. I don't know. Everybody wants to try to say I'm a flat earther. God, the flat earthers hate me as well because I said that Tesla's right, guys, and that they're like, well, Tesla's right. That means Einstein's wrong. No, they're all right. Everybody's right. Einstein's right. Tesla's right. Everybody's right. Okay, let's get through these. There's a few more clips we're gonna do. Okay, so let's finish this Michelson Morley.
Oh, I didn't learn all of this stuff until I was getting ready to have conversations with people because I was looking, where has this work been done? But if you look at Giordano Bruno's work, it looks a lot like my stuff, but he still has.
Okay, so we already did the Michelson Morley stuff and how the potential is misinterpreted. And then he talks about the real world implications here, somewhere around here.
The people that want that, our entire world economy is based off of the politicians and the authorities that give the politicians their accreditation. And those authorities, those universities are all based, their entire curriculum is based off the Platonic solids. And our world economy is based off of 1 × 1 = 1.
You think they fuck with your?
I don't know what Plutonic solids are, chat, and I'm too afraid to ask. But remember yesterday, the BBC guy, and it was telling me, oh, just write a scientific paper. Write a scientific paper? We're conducting a criminal investigation into a missing plane. But who am I? Who's going to publish my scientific paper about my missing plane that gets warped out of the sky? Like, I swear to God, some of these like BBC, CNN brain people are fucking idiots. They have no idea how the real world works. Write a scientific paper? These guys don't even know how it works. You have to have somebody like, they're not just going to be like, I'm a random guy. They don't just take scientific papers from random dudes. Even Salvatore Pais is a Navy engineer. He couldn't even get anybody to sign off to publish any of his papers. Like, I swear to God, like these people that are out there and just think that the TV tells them the truth, they have no idea how the real world works at all. None at all. It's crazy.
Phone?
Oh,
And the truth here is that this type of technology, free energy, all this stuff that he's describing has huge geopolitical and socioeconomic impacts, giant impacts to the world. That's why I'm going to do a quick shout out to the Cosmic Summit that I'm going to be on next month. Cosmic Summit. You guys want to meet me? I'll be there hanging out. I'm going to party with them. I'm going to hang out with some of the smartest guys, some of the people that are going to end up changing this world. It's going to be awesome, guys. So check out the Cosmic Summit. I'll post before I go offline, I'll show you guys where you can sign up if you want to either get an online pass or if you want to show up in person. Let me see here. Let's go to the next thing, Saturn. Yeah, you know who owns the newspapers. We're not going there. Okay, let's go to 118. So this thing about Saturn was really cool right here. There it is. Where is it? Somewhere about here.
You guys can recreate planets.
Yes, this is a particle simulation of the physics involved in making of the planet Saturn.
So this is a particle simulation in the making of the physics of Saturn. And so you can see how the rings would form out here. And then the crazy part is in the middle here, you can see the hexagon. And there's a real hexagon. So this is a simulation that matches how Saturn really looks. If you were to look down at it, you see a hexagon on the North Pole. And everyone wonders, why is there a hexagon? Well, when they model the electromagnetic theory that he's talking about, it is how it looks. Like it's not proof, but the debunkers would say it's proof. They'd say it's a perfect match, and this means it has to work this way. But it's strong evidence.
Wow.
Like all the so the heavier particles are creating the red and the green.
Can I pause this for a second?
Yeah.
So is he saying that just by doing these calculations, it created the exact form of Saturn, including the rings?
just the exact form of it.
Just with the
So you
calculations.
change the angles of incidence that these linchpins, because remember, each one of these are opposing vortices. So there's 12 vortices to this that are opposing. So once the angles of incidence change, you change the motion and pressure conditions. You can now change the condition.
I truly think that Terrence Howard understands it intuitively, but he struggles the same way I do, where he's not classically trained. So therefore he doesn't know like the equations or what have you, but he understands it intuitively. Because even I'm losing him a little bit there, but the pressure situation, I think he's definitely on. The idea that gravity is the differential in pressure between the ether and our reality, I think that's pretty much dead on. And the more mass there is, then the more of that pressure effect you're going to see. That's how I think it potentially works. Makes a lot of sense to me.
Or the crystallization. It all, so I was saying with the periodic table, now because we have the angles of incidence, material engineering can now separate the space between carbon and nitrogen or carbon and boron and have the same elements of titanium, vanadium, chromium, magnesium, and
Okay. Somebody earlier asked me to send me a large file. No, I don't want any large files. And if you're going to send me something, please tell me what you're trying to send me ahead of time. I don't want to play secret games. I don't want people to tell me, I've got something important to show you. Just tell me what it is. It's no offense, but I have people that want me to look at all their videos, people that want me to investigate their cases, all this stuff. Guys, I'm busy. I'm booked up. If it's related to the case, I obviously want to know what it is. The best way to get information to me is join the Discord and post your information publicly in the Discord, not direct message it to me. Post it publicly in the Discord, in the evidence channel, if it's related, theories channel, whatever. Tag me on it in there, tag my name in there, and I'll take a look at it. Oh, Thomas Bearden documentary on the Ether tech are large files. Yeah, you should. And again, I can't take large files. My emails are full. But if you post it in the Discord, post links to where it can be like the Dropbox in the Discord, that would be the best way to do it. So once again, Discord is the best location for all that stuff. I will post another link to the Discord right now in case people didn't get in. So next clip, we only have a couple more clips and then we're done for tonight. Where is it? Sorry, I took some notes. Okay, the ether. We're going to talk. He talks again about the ether right about here.
what they did with the Michelson-Morley experiment, because they could not get out of the ether. They couldn't.
Wait, let me just go back just a little bit.
And then you compare them after you see it. So A over X is equal to B over to R times B over X. R is the result or the change between them. B is the change that occurs. R is what fraction or the X that you use in order to get back to A or to convert it to B. What they did with the Michelson-Morley experiment, because they could not get out of the ether. They couldn't step outside of the ether because it's everything around us. So
that's another way to interpret it. So I was talking with Tom Montauk, and he was giving some feedback on the video that I posted, and he had like a link to Wikipedia that argued that like, well, the length where the light was transmitting is shorter. It's scrunched down. But there's also just this idea that the ether is everywhere. That the reason why you're not going to see a difference is because the ether simply isn't there's no ether wind. That's not how it works. The idea is the ether is the fabric, you know, so the fabric of your painting, there's no wind on it. You just paint on it. So that part, like maybe we just need to change our perspective of what the ether is and how it interacts with our universe. Maybe that's the other way the Michelson-Morley experiment's wrong. And that's why I think that people need to be a little bit more open-minded. We need to look back at some of these things that we threw out before, and that we will find that this explains dark energy, maybe dark matter as well. Maybe it'll explain virtual particles for us. Virtual particles, I think, is the most silly concept in the world. Oh, it's the quantum fluctuations in the vacuum or the virtual particles. Okay, well, where are they coming from? They're coming from nowhere? They're just coming from nowhere. I had somebody literally out there going, yes, there's no latent energy, but there is energy. And I'm going, well, what is it? Where's the energy coming from? It's coming from nowhere. It's what? What do you mean? It's not how things work.
They couldn't tell a difference, whether they saw no result, no change. So they assumed there was a void, that there was no ether there. And that's when particle physics took off. Lorentz, a great physicist that everybody loved, entered a paper in 1904 where he was continually explaining the ether the same way that Maxwell, all of his theories came off of there being an ether, but he was still limited by Newtonian laws and
Lorenz transformations, frame dragging. I think Lorenz, maybe that's not the same, but Lorenz transformations, and then Maxwell believed in the ether. That's pretty cool. So again, Maxwell, seems like Maxwell was on it, guys. And yes, PBS Spacetime is awesome. That's how, the only way I know as much as I do is before this, I used to watch all the PBS Spacetime things. That's where quantum decoherence came from. My understanding double slit experiment. If you guys are interested in physics and you want to hear it from in a layman's terms, listen to the PBS Spacetime YouTube videos. Watch all of them. You'll get caught up pretty quick.
the Coulomb force of opposites attracting.
I think he means Coulomb's force there, but he calls it Coulomb's force.
When it's
So he's name dropping all the same stuff. Lorenz, ether, Maxwell, Coulomb's force, Coulomb's law. Guys, when I'm talking about the orbs converging, I'm looking at Coulomb's law, Coulomb's gauge.
the positive is the things that are alike that attract, but he believed that the ether was still and space was flat. And so space-time or Einstein relativity came as a result of them taking the ether away.
He's saying all the same stuff. All the same stuff. No wonder so many people were pinging this to me today. And yesterday. Terrence Howard said everything that we've been saying. And we've been saying it for months and months and months. I didn't realize he was so on it. So once again, people will say, what do you think about Terrence Howard? I don't like what he says about 1 times 1. So what? I don't like what Dr. Greer says about Bijou from the Andromeda Galaxy. Doesn't mean he's wrong about the technology. He's 100% right about technology. I think that Terrence Howard is 100% correct about the ether. I think he understands and dug into the science similar to how we've dug into the science and come to the same conclusion. Maxwell was right. The ether's real. It's out there. And he just takes it a step further, and he's trying to explain it from the perspective of sacred geometry, which is great. I'm not going to do that because I don't care that sacred geometry is the cause for it. I just want to know how it works. I just want to know how we teleport an airplane from one location to another location. I just want to know how we create a wormhole, guys. I don't care if it's sacred geometry or hexagonal shapes or tetroids or toroids or any of this stuff. Doesn't matter to me. Same way I don't really care about aliens. I just want to know how to make that thing happen. How do we teleport that plane? You show me how to do it, and I'm happy.
And for 100 years, we've walked down this particle physics world that's all theoretical. And here I've patented these wave conjugations.
Now he's talking about phase conjugation and wave conjugation too? He's also talking about phase conjugation now? So when he's talking about phase conjugation, he's like having your waves perfectly overlap and cancel each other out either constructively or destructively. Like Dave Rossi said, have the waves either make love or make war. When the waves are fighting, you get an explosion. When the waves make love, you get phase conjugation. I mean, it makes logical sense, right? If you have two waves, you get constructive and destructive interference. It's the math and the science isn't that complicated. Wow.
That is the ether, is the contraction of the ether.
And here's a good point that MA says, just because if you repel gravity and go at infinite speeds, what you perceive as teleportation could just be high speed. Yeah, it starts to get really weird because also you have frames, like relative frame reference. So yes, in theory, I mean, teleportation literally is, in a sense, just high speeds. The difference is that you can't move the object at high speeds. We know that I can't move at the speed of light. I'll be ripped to shreds. But if you make a bubble around me, then you move the bubble, then technically I'm moving at a high speed from the outside perspective. But from my inside perspective, I'm not moving at all. I'm just sitting there like a conveyor belt. Imagine a conveyor belt's pulling you along. That's what's happening with warp drive. The orbs are on a conveyor belt. The conveyor belt is pulling them forward. They're not walking, but they could also walk if they want, but they're on the conveyor belt being pulled forward.
Ether and the expansion of it. And on top of that, the proof of it was I've been able to build new industries from it. If you go to
Okay, so we got that one. Pretty cool. Yeah, like the stream, guys. We've been guys, popularity of our live streams have been going up and up and up. If I do end up losing my job, we'll do like long live streams and it'll be fun. Okay, 145 is the last one. So this is the last one I had. The second half of this isn't as fun. The first 2 hours is the best. I mean, the rest of it's fine too. I watched it all earlier today. So he talks about lithium ion batteries randomly here. Somewhere around 145. Let's just go to like here.
Doing. Go to the very first video. There's 4 in a row on it. Oh, that's how it came up to you. Well, let's see which one this is. This is 4 of them that's going to come together to pick up a barrel.
What?
And what's powering them?
What is this?
Right now, we're going to use hydrogen fuel cells. But I have another system, that I was going to talk about in a second. But it's an unlimited source of power.
He just said unlimited source of power. What? Unlimited source of power. You know what's weird about this when we just watched what we just saw there where these objects were converging? Remember the letter to Ashton Forbes? The letter to Ashton Forbes says that you can take a simple structure and you add upon the structure and you can have an unlimited power source. And now Terrence Howard's talking. Did Terrence Howard write the letter to Ashton Forbes? Terrence Howard, if you're out there and you wrote the letter to Ashton Forbes, let's talk about the plane. Yeah, it's pretty weird.
But,
so hydrogen fuel cells.
Or you can use lithium batteries at present.
I'm sorry, what? He just talked about unlimited power, and then he just dropped, or you can use lithium-ion batteries. What? Interesting. We've got 487 pounds of lithium-ion batteries on board our plane that just disappeared. Now I'm actually starting to wonder, like, maybe there is a situation where the batteries are somehow connected to what we see happening to the plane. Maybe they literally are absorbing the energy out of the batteries in order to produce what we see happen to that plane. Pretty weird. Pretty damn weird, guys. So I think that's the last part.
So how are they moving? Like what are those? Is that like are those like propellers?
Yeah, those are props. But
okay.
But that right there, what we have right there is it's a pitch.
Okay, well, that's good enough. Yeah, he's talking about other ways of producing energy, which is interesting because somebody else earlier today, I want to show you guys this. Okay, we're done with this. Let's go move that. Somebody found this weird Psychic, which is Sibber, which is some kind of, this is not the same as Sibbers. This is a different Sibber. This is some kind of government contracts website. And this part here is very interesting. This creates a barrier to deploying such systems, which explains why the IoT hasn't lived up to the lofty projections of trillions of devices. Utilizing proprietary ultra-low power IC designs developed at Everactive specifically for battery-less sensors, we built a completely self-powered sensing systems that do not require batteries or maintenance, can be deployed nearly anywhere, and unlock new data systems that generate significant value for our customers. These people are developing sensors, like for satellites, that don't require batteries. What? How? How is that even possible? Makes no sense whatsoever. I just read that and I'm like, wait, so you can make a satellite that has no battery system whatsoever on it? How is it? Where does it get energy from? How does the energy get stored? What is this? What is this? DOD, Sibber. What is this, man? Weird. So anyway, I just thought that was a weird little thing to share with you guys. And especially when I heard that thing with Terrence Howard about the, being used batteries for some kind of unlimited power source. Pretty bizarre, guys. I thought solar as well, maybe, but even if you have solar power, you need to have a battery to put the energy into. If you have no battery, then you must be producing the energy on demand anytime you want. The satellites aren't always in the under the sun. Huh. Very unusual, I thought. Okay, any other questions before we close out? Yes, I did have Salvatore Paez on. I still don't think the orbs care about the batteries. I can't quite connect the orbs to the batteries. I just think that the batteries are related to the fire. And I think the batteries had to be set on fire intentionally. It makes the most sense. It's kind of, I mean, it's hard to wrap your brain around, but yeah. Some people think that the batteries were connected to the orbs. I don't know. I don't fully agree, but whatever. I can't know unknowable stuff. It's already wild. Okay, any last questions before we drop out for tonight, guys? Julian Assange Day today. Nice. Feels like Tenet. That's funny you bring that up, because when it comes to the time travel, I've been told by people, my sources, that the way the time travel works is like Tenet, or like the show Dark, where it's like all deterministic. Where like if you traveled in time, then you always traveled in time. Weird. What time does Ashton usually live stream? Usually around 8 o'clock. Tonight it was a little bit later because I was finishing watching that. So usually around 8:30. Sorry, I don't really have like a set schedule, but it's usually around 8 o'clock. Roughly 4 or 5 times a week. Just depends. The problem is I have my job right now, so it's hard for me to commit to streams every night. Tomorrow night we will dig into the science. So we will look at these scientific papers that I have up right here. I'll show them again. So the scientific papers, linearized turbulent fluid flow is an analog for linearized general relativity. We will look at that. Hal Puthoff paper. We're definitely going to start looking at some of Hal Puthoff's stuff. Hal Puthoff has definitely been getting discredited, and he doesn't deserve it. Electromagnetic flux potentials for energy density and power flux. This is basically, this paper might as well say how the Maxwell equations were incorrectly reduced. I think that's pretty much what this paper says. This one here for the turbulent fluid flow is basically explaining how you can use gravity manipulation in a 3-dimensional space, and potentially how it connects to the ether. Then we're going to look at this one here, counterfactual quantum teleportation protocol, which I think might be like essentially like the coding of how you can, teleport an object from one place to the other, potentially using phase conjugation, turning it into a wave and saying, okay, now you're over here. Pretty cool. Yeah, you can rewatch the stream if you want. We'll probably look. Here's the Lorentz transformations I was talking about. Maybe it is frame dragging. Lorentz frames dragging. We're probably going to look at a little of this, guys. There's so much to learn. And then I want to look into the experiment demonstrating the effect of light on gravitation. There's definitely a connection between light and gravity, and that might be a way where we can make this stuff happen. So we got some papers to dig through. We're going to have a lot of science streams coming forward. I'm going to try to read these and have some notes ready to go for you guys. And then, yeah. So I'm going to retweet out the space. There's going to be a space between Maslov. Okay, so that's it for tonight, guys. I am going to tweet out the space for Maslov and Dustin. I think it's going to be on Wednesday. I'll go do that right after the stream. Check out the Cosmic Summit. I'll pull up a link for that real quick as well. Let me just see how many people we had join as well. I'll put a new Discord invite just in case. I'll do a brand new one here in case we hit the max. So if you want to join, there's a Discord invite. You have to be in the YouTube channel to see the Discord invite. So here is the Cosmic Summit. I'm going to start promoting the Cosmic Summit every day for people. Johanna James, Randall Carlson, Hugh Newman. I don't know all the rest of these people. I know Jordan's going to be there. Robert Schock is going to be there. Bob Greenyer is going to be there. Malcolm Bendel is going to be there. I will be there. It's going to be fun. I can't wait to listen to a lot of these guys and ladies that are there. You guys know I simp for Johanna James. She's like, archaeology or something. Or ancient Earth stuff. Pretty cool. So it should be sweet, guys. Yeah, I'm glad you guys like it. Here's the link to the Cosmic Summit if you guys want. Uncharted guy, which one's that? Which one of these guys is Uncharted? This guy? Scott Wolter? I don't know who a lot of these people are. I'm gonna have to do some background on some of them. Okay, guys, that's going to be it. I'll play us out with some music. There's a couple new songs. Somebody else sent another new song. I haven't even heard this song yet, so I'll play this one first, and then we'll go to some of our other songs that we've already played in the past. Okay. Where is it? How do I get to my bookmarks? Oh, they're there. Okay. Bookmarks, blah, blah, blah. Oh, also real quick, this is how I think we should perceive gravity. If you look at this and if you imagine gravity like this is where you can understand that what we're seeing here is the pressure differential between the ether and space-time, the ether and our reality. That's what, like, you look at this and you go, oh, that's what gravity is. If you look at it from this perspective, this helps you understand why there's an ether. 100%. Okay, now where's... Oh, wait. Oh, no, I just closed it. Oh, God. Okay, sorry. Let me pull it back up. Oh, Skyfire News is all over the Amy Eskridge stuff. The government definitely doesn't like that everybody's talking about Amy Eskridge. Okay, wait, that's the other song. Where's the new song? Oh, here it is, here it is, here it is. Wait, I don't hear anything. Oh, there it is. Okay. New song, everybody. Here we go.
Out in the fields where the skies are wide, talking about a journey through the cosmic ride. Einstein and Thorne, they set the stage for a trip through time across the space age. Wormholes connect distant points in space, traversable paths to a far-off place. No black holes pull, no crushing weight, just a cosmic tunnel to a distant gate.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow.
Exotic matter, negative energy's the key to stabilize the wormhole for you and me. Quantum vacuum squeeze so tight, creating conditions for this wondrous flight. Static fields and lasers in the lab they play, generating forces in a new kind of way. Gravitational squeezing, Casimir's force, negative zones we need to stay the course.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
Thin shell formalism plates so fine, spherical geometry we realign, energy conditions that we must defy. For a stable wormhole, let's give it a try. Coulomb forces balancing the plate, creating the throat, open the gates.
Damn, that is a fire song. Garfield, guys. E8 Garfield. I had never heard that yet. E8 Garfield. Thank you very much, man. You're gonna get a follow just for that. Awesome song. That's amazing. I love how talented this community is. Incredibly talented. Regina, I can't do 360s. I have a literal microphone plugged into me and a cord here. I can't do 360s. So I won't be doing any 360s. I literally can't do them. Last time I did that, my microphone went flying on the ground. So we're not doing any more 360s. Sorry. Yeah, the music's amazing. Okay, so I'm going to play the other music as well. I love that people are making the music, guys. This community is so talented. It's crazy how talented this community is. So where's the other one? This one right here. Dansby. Credit Dansby Jones. You get a follow as well.
Play the news, plane lost in time. MH370 vanished from the sky. World on edge.
Oh, we have the
wondering why secrets hid. Can't deny. Where did you go? Lost in the night. No goodbye. Just vanished from sight. Zapped away. They all say gone in a flash to another day. Microscopic waves, wormholes in space. Hidden tech, a secret race, drone and satellite. Videos don't lie, truth so clear, but buried high. The bunkers try, truth's on the rise. Governments running, hiding from the eyes. Governments, they all know. MH370, where did you go? Where did you go? Where did you go? Where did you go? Where did you go?
Where did you go? Yeah. These songs are incredible, guys. I want it to be known that if I get taken out, if I get Amy Eskridged or whatever, or Boeinged, I want you guys to play those songs at my funeral. Those are amazing. I want you to play every single one. Okay, guys, have a great night. I'm going to take off. We will get another, check me out on Twitter. And check out the Emerald interview tomorrow. I've got some other big podcasts coming up as well. I got to do some replies. I got to retweet some stuff. And I'll play you guys out with, we'll play out one of Heather Birdie's songs, guys. Peace, everybody. Love y'all. Peace, MH370X. Later.
Welcome, step right up. Ashton and crew are about to erupt with facts like these. Who needs debunkers? We'll be beaming through space while they drive their clunkers. It's a 4B, I'm a 4B. This investigation is legit. The effects debunkers can step off with their bullspit. Oh no. Not to name names, but what's in the best in the corridor crew? Well, the theories are a mess. Who knows where this all goes? Bless the sky and those below. But liars and deniers can suck my black hole. Y'all don't come at me, bro. Be a 4B, I'm a 4B. This investigation is legit. The effects debunkers can step off with their bullspit. Oh no.
They're meant to fly, planes they ain't supposed to fall from the sky. But if they do, they'll leave behind more than a piece or two. Planes just be flying, I know you think I'm lying. The USA, they be hiding the truth and I ain't buying. Planes, they're meant to fly, planes, they ain't supposed to fall from the sky. But if they do, they'll leave behind more than a piece or two. They'll leave behind more than I know you think I'm lying. The USA, they be hiding the truth and I ain't buying. Planes, they're meant to fly, planes, they ain't supposed to fall from the sky. But if they do, they'll leave behind more than a piece or two. Planes just be flying, I know you think I'm lying. The USA, they be hiding the truth and I ain't buying. They'll leave behind piece or two. They'll leave behind more